Good morning. Today is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, and the world continues to seemingly open up a little bit more each week. Hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. Today, wanted to share with you, I saw a post by someone that I coach, Kaylee Wagnon. And for those of you that do not know who Kaylee is, she is part of the Brace family, who is Kyle and Jackie Brace's daughter and sister to Grant Brace, that trained many, many years at the Ogre compound, stayed with Melissa and I quite a bit, and unfortunately passed away August 31st last year. Kaylee started training. She had been working out, and she has worked out at our gym, when she was growing up, before going off to school and becoming a nurse. And Kaylee wanted to honor her brother by doing a powerlifting meet. And one of the beautiful things about strength, and especially powerlifting, that's the strength sport that I'm exceptionally partial to, is it has a way, especially for people like Kaylee and myself, it gives you some centering, and that centering helps and bleeds into all facets of your life. And I think it's given her the ability to use the training as a coping mechanism, as a motivator, as an inspiration. And so she's taken something that was initially to honor her brother, which she's going to do that, as a matter of fact, this weekend. But it's something now that she's made of her own. And what better way to honor her brother than to find something that both of them shared a passion for, and Kaylee making it her own. There was a post this morning that I saw. I have not been to Grant's gravesite since they got the headstone put in, and on it has a quote, and it's the Theodore Roosevelt quote, about the man in the arena. Grant saw that at the gym many, many years ago. A friend of mine, Frank Phillips, you've heard me talk about Frank. I helped him get involved in the sport and was his coach for a while, and he has in turn become coach and coaches lifters and works with a team. And ironically enough, I saw him this past weekend at a meet. But Frank gave me that for what, some reasons are my fault, some are just the way it works out. I've had a fairly long career as a competitor and as a coach, and I have obviously been a lightning rod for drama, controversy, whatever the case may be. And Frank has always been not only supportive but extremely protective, and he gave that to me, knowing that what the competing meant to me was very personal. In the scheme of things, it's just something that we do, but for me, it was just something that I took very personally. And when people were so hypercritical, as they will be, I would take it very hard, and that was his way of being encouraging, and I've kept that in the gym since the day he gave it to me. He gave me another thing that I have seemingly misplaced about the oak tree, and he could tell you more about that than I could. Grant, in his locker, had another quote, and I don't know where it comes from. It was, "Tough times don't last, tough people do." And Grant also saw that in the gym. A buddy of mine, guy that I coach, I coach him and his son, Thad Forehand, sent me a care package right as the pandemic was hitting. Knew that I was under a severe amount of pressure, and I again, something I took very hard and very personally, as the world is basically shutting down, and I'm sending equipment home with people. You think about when all this was hitting, we had no idea what was going to happen, and so he sent me a care package of stuff, and that saying was in there, and Grant copied it down, and it's now a tattoo on Grant's father's arm, and in his handwriting, which is exceptionally cool. So a few reasons to share this with you, and I am still very emotional about this. A few weeks ago, about a month ago, we had such a severe rainstorm. The last chore that Grant did for me in the gym is we had made this huge burn pile and burn it, and I wanted him to rake the charcoal away, and we had stacked up some block and stuff like that, and I wanted him to put that away, and he broke my rake and left it in front of I have a small storage building right outside the addition, and for months I did not have the courage to move it. I'd go out there, I would literally bend over to pick it up and just couldn't. And then when the big rain came, I thought it was going to wash it away, and I picked it up and I propped the broken handle up in the gym and hung the rake on a band holder that I have, and I'm going to do something with it. I'm not exactly sure yet, but something Jennifer Milliken said in her interview, I believe it was with Rogue, the Rogue thing that we did, well, they did for her, I didn't do it, about children. And she said children watch you way more than they listen. And Grant was always wanted to help. He knew if he did something in the gym, he'd go, "Coach, what can I do, to help with the gym?" I'd give him a list of stuff, and he would do it when I was away at work. Now, it wasn't always without a price, because Grant would want to talk about it and give you his opinions. That's a story for another time. But he always gave of himself. And I hope that some of that was learned. Well, I'm sure he learned that from his family. But I hope that and I feel like we had a positive influence on him, and he would pay attention to those things, and he would pay attention to why we trained a certain way and why we behaved a certain way at competition, and how important it was for the team. And I'll give you a classic example. The last time that he was here, he stayed, it was probably a couple, 3 weeks, and he would go help Brian over at his garage doing whatever. He would come home, he would take a shower, and he would come downstairs. I wouldn't even be home yet. Classic example is on Thursdays, a lot of the guys are doing decline presses, and he would come down, he would assume the handoff position, and he would hand off to everyone that got on that bench. I never asked him to do that. I asked him to help me in the gym while he was here, but that's, Grant became the consummate teammate, and I could have, in my absence, Grant could take care of the gym. That's how much he paid attention. He knew how to load, he knew what was expected, he knew how to spot. He was a great spotter. And so he saw those things in the gym that he knew meant so much to me. We even talked about it, and in turn they meant a lot to him. And from there, I don't know why I'm telling you this, other than if you pray, pray for the Brace family, pray for the Wagner family. I know that this has, been a lot for Sam as well, and we're all still learning to cope with it and figure it out and live forward. We're not moving on from Grant. We're moving forward with him in our hearts, in our thoughts, in our memories. I mean, there's not a day that goes by that, I can't see something that Grant and I worked on, or put together, or, I trained twice a week in the power rack that he and I went and picked up, that we brought into the gym and had to break down and move a light fixture and all those things to get it in the place that it's in now. And so he is always with me in the gym. So pass along your positive vibes and thoughts for Kaylee this weekend. I just want her, the success of the first meet is to get a total and to be healthy and to have a good time and remember why we do this, and that it's the beginning of more meets and more training. Kaylee, probably over the last 3 months, I'm not sure how many times she and Sam or Kaylee have been to the house and stayed, 2, 3, 4 days. And honestly, last weekend she messaged me and said, it's weird not coming to Nashville. And I'll be honest, it was odd not having her there. And she's my little buddy. She and I are so much alike, it's ridiculous. And so it's quite a joy to have her, in our home and in our gym, and get to coach her and work with her and see her progress and be part of that journey. Because we have a lot of discussions. There's a lot of discussions about Grant and family, but there's also a lot of discussions about how this has given her the center I was speaking about, and how it's having such a positive impact on other facets of her life. And that, isn't that what it's really about? And because powerlifting is something that we do, it is not who we are. And the thing that's important about that is what is defining is the things that we do is not as important as the manner in which we try to achieve them. It's the effort given. Everybody wants to win, but you learn to love to prepare to win and enjoy that process. And your measure is in the effort that you give. And I'll give you another example, using Jennifer as an example. The first nationals that she went up to 63, she got 3rd place. And it was still, for me, it's one of my favorite meets, getting to be with her and to be a part of and to coach her. It was such an incredible atmosphere. It was one of those neat things where all 3 lifters in the top 3, it came down to their last deadlift. And you saw the crowning of a new national champion. You saw Jennifer, a lot of people wrote her off, and to give her that kind of, and didn't give her the credit that she was due, and she was right there at the last pull. And then Jen Thompson is, what a cagey veteran. And as soon as you think, she's out, down and out, she comes back. I've seen her miss a lift so terribly on an attempt and then come back and destroy it, and that's experience and being a consummate competitor. And so a lot of people would be really disappointed with 3rd place. Of course, she wanted to win. That's what she was there to do. But to give that kind of effort, to train that hard and be able to put that on the line, that's the measure of what we are. And so I want to remind everybody, if you happen to be listening to this long-winded thing, is, don't be measured by what you do. but in how you do it and how you approach it. So, and I have to listen to that myself. Of late I've been on the struggle bus with my training for various reasons. So, no one's going to remember my best lifts or any potential title I may have won, but they'll remember the effort that I gave or how I made them feel, or whatever the case may be. So today, a little sad, but so glad that I got to be part of Grant's life, and he was part of ours, and made such an indelible mark and dramatic impact on our lives. And with what made him difficult to deal with, also made me a better person and a better coach. And he and I developed a relationship not only as coach and athlete, but as friends. And I was someone that he trusted, that he would come to me and discuss things that were very difficult for him. And he could be open, honest, and frank. And I'll close with saying this: we still are charged with taking care of one another. So please, in the midst of all that is going on politically and social, all those things, don't forget, with all of our differences, there's still so much that we share interest in. And if you're part of a group of something, whether it be powerlifting, music, whatever the case may be, there's a reason that, regardless of your differences, the things that you're impassioned about and that you find special and important, and give your life drive and meaning, that you never forget your why, not only individually, but as with your group. Whether the gym folks, that's who outside of the gym, that's who I spend the most time with, and they've become family. The guys that I coach online, some of those guys, we go see them and they come see us, and we travel together, and there's no bigger blessing than that. So take care of each other, and sometimes just take a step back and be willing to embrace someone that needs it. And maybe we don't have a retort for something that was posted online or said. We're just there to be the best version of ourselves and to help that person when they need it. So I miss you, Grant. I miss you a bunch, and I'm sure we'll be thinking about you this weekend. Look down on your sister Kaylee as she honors you and starts her journey.